Sills, and here we are. Day out from training camp for your Philadelphia Eagles and the quest to go back to the NFC title game and hopefully to another Super Bowl. A lot of teams reporting this week. A lot of news. NFL will be front page. The only other sports story, in my opinion, that will rival any NFL stories will be where Shohei Ohtani goes, whether he'll be traded at the trading deadline or if they'll wait until the offseason. Best thing for baseball is that they wait until the offseason. But one day out, baby, here we are. Oh, by the way, before we get going, Tone was just talking to me about a little bit of the movie Oppenheimer, and there's a scene in the movie, and I don't want to ruin it for you, but the President of the United States, Harry Truman, takes a napkin out, gives it to Oppenheimer. Hey, you feel conflicted on things? Guess what? Here's a tissue. You got an issue? Here's a tissue. So I hear these running backs in the NFL had this Zoom conference, and they were complaining about what's happened to the running back salary. Hey, Tone, I don't know what anyone else thinks, but you're talking to the wrong people. Why are the players demanding the owners say anything? Why don't you go to your union? Where was D. Smith? Where is the union? Where's the NFL union? You got a bitch with your employer, don't you usually, if you're a union shop, don't you go to your union? Where's the NFL Players Association? You're going to go to the employer to bitch about money. That falls on deaf ears. Dude, you need to go to your union. Your union don't have your back. That's why they got the leagues back. 10 years of labor peace. Cutting good deals with the owners. Running backs are crying, demanding that owners, guys getting on airplanes, scrubbing their social media. You need to take that up with your union, dude. Because an employer's never going to tell you, well, here's more money because, well, we're good people. There's an employer and an employee. And this is why you have unions. How crazy is it to think that the NFL players and these running backs have a leg to stand on? You don't. You want to forfeit $10 million? Can I tell you why the NFL will forfeit games in spite of themselves? The 1987 NFL strike. They would rather lose games by using replacement players than pay you. They did it before. They're not going to take a knee to you. Has the NFL ever lost a labor battle with the players? No. They're undefeated. They don't lose arguments to players. Players lose arguments every day to management. And here it is again. These guys are moaning and crying. Josh Jacobs, I'm not reporting to camp. So what? Saquon Barkley, so what? No one cares. The owners don't care. Dude, the National Football League owns you. They own you until they're done with you. They will use you as much as possible, and if they can find a replacement for you, they will. And they have. Other news, before we get into the topics. By the way, the disrespect of Jalen Hurts, it's like a campaign now. I know that, like people like Niner. Sills is on. No, it's new propaganda against your boy every day. We're going to get into that here in a minute. So Gardner Johnson gets hurt. You know what's funny? I hear people say this all the time. Hey, I don't wish the guy to get hurt, and I hope everything works out for him. I'm not hoping for anybody to get hurt, but good. That's just one less guy that we have to worry about now if your favorite football team has to play the Lions. Why don't you say the truth? Of course, nobody's hoping that anybody gets hurt, but that's good for the Eagles. That's good for the Cowboys. That's good for the Niners. It's called football. Non-contact, contact, people get hurt in this sport. Say the truth. Great, that helps the Eagles. So you're saying you wish? Of course not. Use your brains. Nobody wishes that. But that's good for my team. Okay? And JM, right. Hey, don't feel bad he's getting paid. That just helps my football team. One less guy. But that's cold, really. Well, guess what? I'm not rooting for your team. I'm not rooting for the Lions. I don't give a shit about the Lions. You got one less guy. Don't you always hear that? Hey, man, that sucks the way that player got hurt. So what, you wanted to play that team at full strength? Why would you want to play a team at full strength if you didn't have to? So wait, did you feel sorry for Brock Purdy when he got hurt? Did anybody in Philadelphia feel sorry for Brock Purdy when he got hurt? Wow, Tone must have taken out a napkin and started wiping his eyes and going, man, I wish we had played Brock Purdy and the Niners at full strength. Nobody talks like that. How about this? I'll take that back. Nobody means that. Anybody who says, hey, because they always put an asterisk on it. Hey, I'm just glad that, he's not hurt severely. I don't care if he's hurt severely, if he is or he isn't. I'm Switzerland on him now. I don't care. One less good player on that team. Well, that's a cold way of looking at it. Well, that's how the NFL looks at it. That's how other teams look at it. There's not a guy on the planet that wishes any player to get hurt. But if he gets hurt, hey, that's like saying this. I wish that Roger Federer had a chance to play against Rafa Nadal, and now this is not a real championship because Rafa Nadal couldn't show up. That's not Roger Federer's fault. People can't tell the truth is the problem here. Okay? That's Tone said. Tone says, I'm with you, Sills. I'm Switzerland on him. Dude, I don't wish any bad, but I don't give a shit either way. Okay? Either way, I could care less. Now, if you're telling me they got one lesser player that's a good player on their team, good. People can't talk like that, though, because you know why? People think you come off like a jackass, when in reality, that's the truth. That's just the truth. Deep down, you're thinking that, but you can't say it because you know why? You can't bring yourself to say it. I can. I don't know the guy from a can of paint. Why would I care? That's like watching the news every night, giving a shit about somebody in Oregon. Hey, that's a sad story. I'm going to go eat dinner now. Pretty crazy how people talk, but they don't really say what they mean. Right, Quan's like big Switzerland. Good, dude. Whether you're hurt or not, I could care less. I'm totally Switzerland on you now, guy. And if you don't line up against my football team when we play you, maybe in the playoffs, more power to us. Could care less. I heard people on the radio going, man, that's a really bummer. And I'm like, why is it a bummer? You don't know him. Well, he played in Philly. Well, he don't now. And he's talking shit on you. Dude, as far as I'm concerned, that guy's like a sunken battleship. I could care less where it sits. When you were playing, Dan, they wanted you to knock out. They wanted to knock you out. That was Hey, and get this. Dude, Joe Montana's not playing this week because he got hurt? Great. Is that a bad thing to say? I get the backup instead of Montana. Or should I have been this? Because people still have that dumbass sportsmanship thing. Well, you want to play your opponent at full strength. No, I don't. Tone. Tone's thinking more like a player there. Okay? Doza, what's up, my friend? Appreciate everybody coming aboard here. CJ Gardner-Johnson could give a shit if he's hurt or he's not. Has no bearing on my life any longer. Okay? Has no bearing. And if he's by the way, I play for the Lions. And if he's on the field for the Lions, good. I don't care if he's hurt or he's not. That's a bum. You know why I don't care? There's 6 million reasons. Hey, by the way, man, we got a packed show the next couple days here. We got Gary Cobb at 4:30 today. Tomorrow, Mike Missinelli at 4:30. And then Seth Joyner on Wednesday. So next 3 days are all filled up here. And with you, we appreciate you guys coming aboard. Barb, yeah, I was on the Lions. I think I got my paycheck. Oh, yeah, here, Barb. I like showing this, Barb. There's one of my incentive checks from the Lions. See it? Detroit Lions, big sales. There you have it, right there. One of my incentive checks. 10 bones. That's a roster bonus. Is it? Yeah. This was a $10,000 roster bonus that I got. I done. So, yes. Hey, JM goes, Sills, were you in Detroit? Yeah. He goes, how much of that check did you get? $1,500? Probably so, dude. Okay, let's move on here. Man. Oh, my God. I could not wait for Monday. I could not wait for Monday. By the way, I have burning questions for training camp, which starts tomorrow. We're going to do that here in a second. I could not wait for Monday. The disrespect campaign of Jalen Hurts continues. Pro Football Focus came out and named the top 50 most influential and important players in the league. And your boy wasn't on the list. Oh, my God. Hang on. Jalen Hurts, according to the metric that so many people use now, Pro Football Focus, says your boy's not one of the top 50 players in the league today. Damn! Let me say that again. He is not looked at as one of the best players in the sport. How do you even qualify influence? I threw that in. Hey, Tone, I threw the word influence in. Okay. I threw the word influence in. But let me tell you who the quarterbacks they put in the top 50. These are the quarterbacks that Pro Football Focus looks at as the elite quarterbacks in the National Football League today. Mahomes won, ranked number 1 as the best player in the sport. I thought you guys told me he played head-to-head against him in the last 2 outings. And Jalen Hurts isn't in the top 50 players? What? Joe Burrow, number 2 quarterback, ranked 10th. Pretty right? Number 3, Josh Allen, Bills, ranked number 12, the 12th best player in the sport. Not just quarterback, but the 12th best player at any position in the league, according to Pro Football Focus. Who's at 4? Now, you can argue how much you guys look at Josh Allen, the top 3, but what I think is the next 3 guys. Number 4, quarterback, ranked by Pro Football Focus, better than Jalen Hurts as a player in the NFL. Justin Herbert, Chargers, ranked number 35. Who else could be ranked ahead of Jalen Hurts at quarterback? Lamar Jackson, who missed an entire year almost a year ago. Ravens, number 41, ranked 41, the 5th quarterback. And here is the 6th, Aaron Rodgers. So there's 6 quarterbacks according to Pro Football Focus. I'd like to know if Pro Football Focus has Dak ranked ahead of Jalen. Mahomes 1, Burrow 2, but 10th. Josh Allen 12th ranked. Herbert 35th. Lamar Jackson number 41. And Aaron Rodgers number 45. Pro Football Focus doesn't look at your guy as one of the top 50 players in the game. Are they right? How could you be the top 50 players in the game when you've only had 1 year? There's an argument to that. Can you really justify putting Jalen Hurts as one of the top 50 players in the game at only 17 games? I don't know. Now, again, are you talking about last year going into this year? Or are you talking, is this a cumulative thing? Because if it's cumulative, they're right. But if you're coming off the 2022 season, I think you're wrong. Can you have your cake and eat it at the same time here? I don't know. Is that what Pro Football Focus? Because Aaron Rodgers ranked, this has to be off of 2. This is where the disrespect is. Tone, here's the disrespect. Nobody in their right mind is going to say that Lamar Jackson or Justin Herbert or Josh Allen is better than Aaron Rodgers. So it has to be that Aaron Rodgers is 6 is the fact that he's coming off that year of a year ago. So for them not to put Hurts in the top 50, this is off the 2022 season, in my opinion, which is even more disrespectful. I'll give you, if this is a cumulative thing and how they look at him, and by the way, the reason I'm saying something about this is because a lot of people in networks use Pro Football Focus because it's Collinsworth's guys, and this is a metric that a lot of people use on how they evaluate players, especially on Mondays after Sunday games. Okay? I'll give you, if this is cumulative over the last 3 years, is Hurts one of the top 50 players in the game? No. But if you're coming off the 2022 season, I think it's very disrespectful that you don't look at him as one of the top 50 prospects, because then you got to turn around and do this. So do you apply that to Sauce Gardner? Can you put and justify putting Sauce Gardner in the top 50 players coming off of only 1 year starting in the NFL? I don't think you can if you're going to. Here's the point. Once again, whether it's NFL.com, CBSSports.com, Pro Football Focus, they don't think your guy's elite. They think he's an elite dude. Am I wrong? Now, how do you take this? Of course you take it with a grain of salt. As a matter of fact, I would say this to you. I actually like Jalen Hurts in the underdog role. I think he excels in the underdog role. I'm not saying that he wouldn't excel whether he's expected to do something or if he's in that underdog role. He's going to do the best he possibly can. Okay? He's going to do the best he can. I get it. But this is about how people see him. And this is why when I get asked this question, do you think Jalen Hurts could be the face of the league? Never in a billion years will that guy be the face of the league. They don't want him to be. They would rather promote Lamar, Allen, Burrow, Rodgers, Jackson, and Mahomes. Shit, I think they'd rather promote the guy in Jacksonville. I think they have more of an opinion, and I mean the media, of Trevor Lawrence than they do of Jalen Hurts. Again, what's Trevor Lawrence done? He's done less than Jalen. Your quarterback is not looked at in a high light by people around the United States, especially the people that cover the NFL. He's not. They look at him as he had a great year. Can I say this to you? Honestly, I think they look at Jalen Hurts as a little bit better version of Geno Smith. They don't look at him as Justin Herbert. They don't put him in the same breath as Josh Allen. They don't even look at him like that. They would rather promote, and I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you what it is. You will be always disrespected. How about this? What's the constant between all those guys you mentioned? They're all former number one picks. The NFL props up their first rounders. They sure do. That has to be based off last year's performance. He's only been in the league 3 years. Weapon, if that's based off of last year's season, that list is way off. Okay? And I agree with you. I think it is too because Rodgers is better. Shit, Rodgers is probably the second best quarterback in the NFL. Okay, right now. Right now, he's probably the second best to Mahomes. Okay? But because he's coming off a bad year, he's sixth. Well, then where's Jalen? If he's coming off a bad season, Jalen's coming off I thought Jalen was coming off an MVP year. Dude, I'm going to tell you this. And I don't know if you guys agree with me. I think the National Football League and the National Football media had a higher opinion of Carson Wentz than they do Jalen Hurts. I think they had a higher opinion of him. And then obviously when he started going south, they destroyed him quick. But end of the day, I think the national media had a higher opinion of Carson Wentz. When Wentz was throwing for 4,000 yards and Carson Wentz was winning ball games and he was in an MVP race, I think they had a higher opinion of him at any time during Jalen Hurts' time so far. And once again, just because you got the money, that doesn't mean they have a high opinion of you. You think they got a high opinion of Kyler Murray? Who has a high opinion of Kyler Murray? Jalen makes $3.9 million more than him. That's it. And people would look at Kyler Murray and go, that guy's, he is not a leader. So the money is not the issue. The money doesn't give you respect. Okay, it doesn't. That doesn't, you got to go out and earn it. Holy cow. So you got one of the biggest publications in the NFL, in the media, telling you that Hurts ain't even in the top 50 players in this game. And you got everybody in Philadelphia saying the Eagles have the right guy at quarterback. That's not how the league sees it. The league is saying this to you. I want to see him do it when it matters against good teams. I'm not saying this even. This ain't me talking. Nobody believes that he is. How about this? You know what? I would say this to you and put this out there. I think a lot of people probably think that that's the best version you're ever going to get of Jalen Hurts. Because if you couldn't win a Super Bowl last year with that team, you got a lesser team this year. You think you're going to win it this year? You got a lesser football team. If you couldn't win a Super Bowl last year, what makes you think you're going to win it this year? Even the guy in the Inquirer said, don't expect the Eagles to get back to the Super Bowl. How do you know that's not like Dan Marino? What did Dan Marino do? And it was it second year, first year? Took the team to the Super Bowl. Everyone thought he'd go back 100 times. Never went back. I think he went back that one AFC title game against Pittsburgh. Right? Anthony goes, Sills is happier than a fat kid locked in a donut shop over these national people ranking Jalen Hurts. No, what they're doing is, I told you this months ago about Jalen. I didn't tell you. I think that list is disrespectful. But I'm telling you how those people look at him. I know those people. I know those folks. I've worked with the majority. We get those folks on here. I know how they look at your guy. You don't really think Chris Sims is sold on him, do you? As soon as that guy at ESPN, the quarterback, as soon as this guy starts going south, they'll start taking a shit on him again. He'll be dude, don't lose that game against New England. Woo! Boom. Dude, down for the count. Callie Green keeps Jalen hungry. No way. You think PFF? I'll tell you this. Those publications don't bug Jalen Hurts. You know who hey, Tone, I know you know this. You think those publications bug Jalen? Absolutely not. You think it bugged the Eagle PR department? You bet your ass it does. You think that doesn't aggravate Bob Lang over at the Eagle camp? That the quarterback is not thought of in a great regard? When you got an owner that looks at him in a high regard? Let me tell you this. Don't think that that's not aggravating to the Eagles public relations people. That is totally under their skin when those lists come out. It's what their job is. Their job is to promote their players. And you can't promote the Eagle players. Why? Because people around the country don't look at the Philadelphia players and rank them high. They don't. They look at A.J. Brown and go, what a great player. You had to buy him from the Tennessee Titans. Okay, A.J.'s a great player. I think he's your highest ranked player. Him or Lane. Him or Lane, probably. I think Chris Sims is coming around. Barb says last year the Eagles don't win the Super Bowl. There's fans even out there that go on a suicide watch. PR people got to do something besides checking players' Twitters. I like that too, Rob. I do. Quan goes, Hurts doesn't give a shit, so why should you, Sills? Because I'd like to have Jalen looked at in a higher light. Nobody does around the country. Nobody that matters. The NFL doesn't even look at him in a high light. You see, again, I think they look at Jalen Hurts as a future Walter Payton Man of the Year kind of guy. But they don't look at him as an MVP guy. No way. And he's deserving. Last year he was deserving. Bro, I'm on your sides. I'm on your sides with this. That list was put together as were all these other lists going into camp tomorrow. Off a year ago. People weren't impressed with Jalen. Let me say this to you. If Trevor Lawrence had the year that Jalen Hurts had, do you think Trevor Lawrence would be propped up a little more if he got to the AFC title game and beat Mahomes? and then got to the Super Bowl and won it? You think he'd be propped? How about this? If he got to the AFC title game, do you think they'd be propping up Trevor Lawrence more than Jalen? Shit, they're almost doing it now. They ask why you give a shit. It's sports talk. Yeah, and it's how they look at your guy. They look at your guy not in the best light. And get this. Dude, I get the Mahomes. I could probably get the Joe Burrow. And get this. I could probably get the Josh Allen. But they got Justin Herbert ranked ahead of him. They got Lamar, who didn't even play but a half a season a year ago. And they got Rodgers coming off not his greatest year in the last 10 years because he's going to New York. And he's a great player. So out of the top 50 players, they look at Jalen Hurts as not a top 50 guy. And this is every position in the league. Really? You got wide receivers in the NFL ranked ahead of Jalen? D linemen? Linebackers? What's your evolution on the AFC quarterbacks? Evaluation on the AFC quarterbacks. Which quarterback has the best chance to get past Mahomes for the AFC title? I do think Allen. I do think Burrow. I do think Lawrence. I don't know what the Broncos are going to look like yet. Okay? I don't. Get this. That Bronco team could come out and look completely different and a complete 360 from what we saw a year ago. And they could go on and win 12. Could they win 12 games? Absolutely. Absolutely, they could go on and win. So I don't know the influence yet on what Sean Payton's going to bring to that. It's a pretty talented football team up there in Denver. Okay? That's right. Tone's like boom or bust. That's what it is. That team is either going to look like it did a year ago, or the Broncos are going to go on and be a force in the AFC. Okay? Sean Payton's a great play caller. He was a great play caller in Dallas before he got to New Orleans. And once he gets a signal caller, he gets that ball around the yard. He's going to – I want to see how that thing looks. Okay? JM goes, Wilson hasn't changed. He'll be bad. So you're going to take – okay, so wait a minute. Here, look at what JM just did here. A decade of being a great quarterback with Russell Wilson. Last year, he takes one season, calls him – he'll never turn it around. He takes one season of Hurts and calls him elite. That's ass backwards thinking. That guy's been elite for a decade, and he's going to Canton. You're going to go 1 year, and you're going to bury him over 1 year. I'm not there with that. Nathaniel Hackett was a train wreck. I'm not going there with that. I'm going to give Russell Wilson. Hey, Russell Wilson was the same guy with Pete Carroll as he was a year ago, but he won in Seattle. And he won Super Bowl. And he won a Super Bowl and 2 NFC titles. Okay? Tone's here. Wilson has over a decade of being on the top tier. Now he's dead and gone. Absolutely he's not dead and gone. Let him. Hey, Carson Wentz didn't just go like this. He went like this, albeit it was a steep decline. Albeit, I get it. I get you, Tone. I know you do. That guy is not a guy you just go, well, he sucks now. And just like you don't say Jalen Hurts is a lead over 17 games. I hear more people say that, and I can't tell you how many times I laugh at that. Jalen had an elite year the same way that Carson Wentz had an elite year. Still yet to be determined how his story ends. A lot of chapters to be written for Jalen Hurts. He's only through 3 chapters of the book. You've read 3 chapters of the novel and you think you're reading a masterpiece. Not me. Because the novel of Wentz started out the same way. Started out the same way. You guys were enjoying the book and then you put it down. We'll see. Well, he's a harder worker and you like him and he's a nicer guy. What's that have to do with anything? Nothing. Aaron Rodgers, who gives a shit if he's a good guy, nice guy, whatever. Go win me games and MVPs. And that's what he does. I don't care to break bread with you. I don't care to have a cocktail with you. I'm not looking to be your boy. I'm looking for you to deliver a Super Bowl. So I'll bring this up because Tone brought a great conversation into the mix last week when we were talking to you about your owner. One title in 30 years. You think Jalen Hurts underachieved last year or overachieved? Do you think he overachieved or underachieved? Let's apply the same concept that you did to the owner who's been in the building 30 years. Or are you going to change the goalpost here a little bit? Listen to my question. Did Jalen Hurts last year overachieve or underachieve? He overachieved? Really? You think coming up short's overachieving? You think, so you guys think he overachieved? Micah goes, there's no way to answer that. Why? You answered the question about the owner of the Eagles. Insane question. Why? Do you think that Jalen Hurts, yes or no, over or underachieved last year? We never had them going to the Super Bowl. First dual threat quarterback to make, really? There was a guy by the name of Colin Kaepernick, my friend, who got to the Super Bowl. You may have forgot him. This is good. Based off his career so far, he overachieved. Former number 2, second-round pick, was never drafted to be the starter, was about to be traded for Wilson or Watson. Yes, we lost the Super Bowl, but 30 years versus 3 years isn't a good comparison to me. Okay? Interesting. So he overachieved by losing the Super Bowl. Considering what the masses thought of him, yes, he overachieved. Over. You said team would figure him out by week 10. No. I said a team would bang him up by week 10. It was week 12 when they hurt him. I thought you'd get to the Super Bowl. I have a hard time with this question, Dan, Greasy says. Here, before we move on, Jalen Hurts, did he over or underachieved? I think he set a bar for himself. I think he set a bar. And now he has a bar. He set the bar the first. Okay, look, if we're going to go by year to year, like I'm telling you and how you look at elite, his first year, did he jump over that bar? He did. By quite some distance. So he overachieved from the previous year on what he did. Now, I'm kind of changing the game here a little bit because the end result is winning. The end result is winning. It's a very difficult question because if you answer and you say overachieved, you're going to look back and go, yeah, but did McNabb, the year he got to the Super Bowl, did he over or underachieve? How about this? Let me ask you this one then. Did McNabb over or underachieve getting to 5 straight NFC title games in a Super Bowl? You think Jalen Hurts is going to go to 5 straight NFC title games? I do not. I do not. He set the bar. Now I'm on his ass from here. Okay, that's a fair comment. Because that's what Mahomes, because Mahomes has done that. Dude, nobody gives a shit what Mahomes does during the regular. Do you really care if Mahomes breaks the record for the single season passing yardage or touchdowns and shit like that? Do you really care? I don't. I want to see what he does with his legacy. Is he going to be like Brady? Is he going to be like Montana? Is he going to be like Aikman? And I'm talking about Super Bowl rings. Philly goes, he underachieved. I don't think, I'll answer my own question here. I don't think Jalen Hurts underachieved. I think Jalen Hurts overachieved on what my expectations, because I put the expectations out there. But I did think that team had a Super Bowl team, but I thought that they would get to the Super Bowl in spite of him. They got to the Super Bowl because of him. I'll say this to you. Here's the guys that were responsible for getting the Eagles into the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders, the entire offensive line, the entire defensive line, and the corners. Those were the people that got that team to the Super Bowl. Those were the groups and people that were responsible for getting to the Super Bowl. Hassan Reddick is part of the front seven, Jameson. So instead of naming them all because they had 70 sacks, I put them all in there. McNabb had 5 cracks at it. He underachieved. So if Jalen Hurts has a couple more cracks at it, we'll be putting him in the McNabb category, right? So do you think he's got do you think he overachieves what McNabb did? Again, this is forecasting. That's quite a task to ask. Do you think that Jalen Hurts will get to more NFC title games than Donovan McNabb? I don't know. I don't know if that's the truth. Dan Marino didn't get to 5 conference title games. Okay? I don't know. Shit, did Peyton Manning get to 5? Maybe not, but if he steals a Super Bowl out of it, I'm good. Okay? So right now you're good with Wentz, having helped you win one, right, Tone? Good to know. Tone, that's good to know that you're good with Wentz. Okay, me too. Me too, man. Carson Wentz will forever go down in history as being one of the most important pieces to your Super Bowl run in 17, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not. Okay? Tone says that Wentz was the sacrificial lamb. He did a little bit of self-inflicting wounds, too, to himself. Okay? He surely did. All right. Damn, not one of the 50 top players in the league, according to Pro Football Focus. Incredible. And I think wrong. So you know. I know some of you are probably going, Sills loves that list. No, because I think, once again, it's disrespecting the guy. No. Because I don't think that's a cumulative list. I think those are guys coming off 2022. Because Rodgers shouldn't be low like that at 40. You think Rodgers is the 45th best player in the league? I so do not. He's a top 15 player. even at his age. Do you understand that that guy's one of the greatest signal callers and greatest throwers of the football in league history? His completion percentage, his touchdowns to interception ratio is off the charts. Like the second closest people to him are a far distance to what his completion percentages are and his touch. He's 3-1. Do you want to hear an even crazier statistic about him? That Aaron Rodgers, I think he just threw his 100th interception this year after 17 years. After 17 years. And he's got 500 touchdowns or 460 something. I mean, if that list is based off of 22 and Hurts was not on that list, that means the league still looks at him as a caboose and not the engine. Totally true. It's exactly the point I'm making. They look at him and say, he's got a loaded team. Best organization, one of the top 3 in the league. He benefits from that. I don't know how that's a bad thing. Just so happens he got drafted by a great organization. Hey, how many people look at it like this? The kind of train wreck human being that Ben Roethlisberger was as a human. You think if he goes anywhere but Pittsburgh, he succeeds? Boy, I don't. You think Ben Roethlisberger, let's just say this. If Phillip Rivers had gone to Pittsburgh instead of Roethlisberger, and Roethlisberger went with the Spanoses, do you think he'd have been in more trouble in San Diego and Los Angeles than he was in Pittsburgh, having the Rooneys who have a way they do things? I think what saved Ben Roethlisberger's entire life was Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin and the Rooneys. Okay? And the Rooneys. I think it's where you get drafted too. Isn't it ironic that Jalen thought he was going to go to the Steelers? Either way, he was going to win. He was either going to Pittsburgh or Philly, and he landed in the Philly lap, and here we are. He was going to win either way. Because those two organizations, especially the Steelers, they're the gold standard. Plenty of trouble in Pittsburgh since when? How many Super Bowls do you have to the Steelers? You might want to watch that one. Oh, you got a better year this year? Okay, probably so. But you're not the Steeler organization. They've done it for over 50 years. You've done it since 2000. I'd be candid on that one when you're talking about your organization is better than Pittsburgh, because that's not the truth. There's a reason there's 6 Super Bowl trophies in that building. It's the way they do things. You can make the argument Herbert had a loaded team, has 2-star receivers, a top 10 running back, a good offensive line, and a top 12 defense, but no one mentions it. And he's also in the AFC, where you have Mahomes. And I would say this to you, Tone. True. But what did Brady do versus, or what did Manning do versus Brady? He had a losing record against them. He underachieved in Indianapolis. At the end of the day, think about that. Peyton Manning underachieved in Indianapolis. He completely underachieved. He probably overachieved in Denver. Okay? He underachieved. 1 Super Bowl? Okay. Well, wait a minute here. If people keep saying that Aaron Rodgers is underachieved, they got the same playoff record. They've won 1 Super Bowl. They got a Super Bowl MVP. What's the difference? See, it's kind of how you look at it. Manning is overrated. That I wouldn't go with. Bengals are the top bet to win the Super Bowl. Eagles are second on DraftKings metrics. Bengals, Eagles, Super Bowl? Yeah, I see it. I think Mahomes now in Kansas City's got an issue now. Chris Jones wants to get paid $30 million a year. He's not showing up to camp. Here's the problem with that. $50,000 fines every year he's not in camp. Or $50,000 a day. Every day he's not in training camp. So he don't show up. He's going to start acquiring these $50,000 a day fines. Then you're going to make that thing ugly. Then that's exactly what you want if you're in Cincinnati or Jacksonville or Los Angeles or Buffalo. Look at all the noise going on, and here are your Eagles. Quiet as a church mouse. I think it's great. And by the way, lists like this, I think it's the best thing on the planet for the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's why. Dude, once you get into a comfort zone and you think you're the head rooster in the hen house, people start looking at you in a different way. I'd rather be the guy that still believes he's climbing the mountain than the guy on top of the mountain. Because once you're on top of the mountain, it's very easy to slip off. I think it's easier to slip off the top than it is to climb to the top. Okay? Not a lot of room at the top. A lot of angles. People come up from behind, from the side. You don't know where the next opponent's coming from or the next obstacle, an injury, multiple injuries. Guy not playing his best ball. We see that hey, for the Eagles to get the same kind of performance from everybody that was new, that's on this current team this year, highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Could Jalen Carter, all these guys? I don't know. We didn't know a year ago. But the one thing we did have was what? They were veterans. All on one-year deals. Gardner Johnson, one-year deal. TJ was on a free agent. He was going to be a free agent. Kaiser White was going to be a free agent. Sayamalo was going to be a free agent. You understand what happened a year ago with your Eagles? Everybody was auditioning. Everyone was auditioning for not just the Eagles, but for 31 other teams. So that's why they went out and played. They played to get to the Super Bowl, for sure. But at the end of the day, everybody was on a one-year deal because they were auditioning. Everyone was auditioning. You know how we know this? Everyone got a raise. Javon Hargrave was auditioning. Gardner Johnson was auditioning. TJ Edwards was auditioning. Miles Sanders was auditioning. Why do we know this? Like I said, everyone got a raise. Everybody who was on that one-year deal, whether you were going to be a free agent or a one-year Howie Prove-It deal, everyone panned out. They auditioned and passed the audition and got the part. TJ's in Chicago. Kaiser's in Arizona. Miles is in Carolina. Sayamalo's in Pittsburgh. Right? Bradbury auditioned, got his raise. Darius Slay is the only guy that had a self-inflicted wound that cost him money. Do you understand that? And the only reason that Slay got a $3.5 million haircut, because he couldn't keep his mouth shut. He couldn't keep his mouth shut. He didn't like the fact that Bradbury was going to make more. Well, he ended up making more anyway. So he had to open his pie hole. And you know what it also came down to? Two things. Him realizing he didn't play that well down the stretch. And then Drew Rosenhaus telling him, hey, you're not going to get that money in the open market. Because the market, this past market, I'll tell you this, this past free agent market could be a sign of things to come in the future. Here's the team. Here's the guys that got paid. D tackles, safeties did not get paid. They'll never pay a running back again. How about this? Miles Sanders may have gotten the last big free agent contract for a running back in history. That may be the last time you see something like that signed ever again. Okay? Wide receivers will always be paid. Think about this, for instance. Odell Beckham Jr. and DeAndre Hopkins were both injured last year, and they got $14 million apiece. They were hurt. Beckham didn't even play. And Beckham got a raise from the money he was making with the Rams. How's that possible? And running backs in the NFL now are going home instead of going to camp. There's just certain positions now. Offensive linemen will be paid. Okay? You've never seen offensive line. Dude, Andre Dillard got paid. He got paid. Just saying, man. Okay? All these guys. Just to circle back, though. Just to circle back and close up this topic on Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not looked at in a high opinion by people for his ability. How could you? They think it was a fluke. I think most think in the NFL media, what he did a year ago is the best you'll ever see of him in his career. How else do you get this too? It's not just one publication. All these publications have a relationship with the National Football League, CBS. Shit, NFL.com is the NFL. Pro Football Focus, you see it on Sunday. Do you know why Pro Football Focus is a big deal? Because Sunday Night Football uses it. So on Sunday Night Football, they name the top 50 players in the league and Hurts is not on it. They're not promoting them. Think of the traffic that Pro Football Focus gets after a Sunday night game for Monday morning when it comes to evaluating players. And they click on other stories and they look at it and go, wow, people don't look at Jalen Hurts. Because you know this. People are headline readers. They're not substance readers anymore. You read a headline. You read a headline. You don't go knee deep into a story and go, well, this ain't really true. Okay? Spike goes, that's called hate. No, I don't know if it's hate. I don't think there's a guy. Hey, Spike, you don't really think there's a guy sitting there at Pro Football Focus who puts these lists together who's got a hatred for Jalen Hurts. No. He doesn't jump off the charts at you. And when you watch him play, he doesn't jump off the TV screen when you're watching Josh Allen throw a 75-yard touchdown strike. Or you're watching Mahomes in a battle going back and forth with Goff and him on a Monday Night Football game where it was electric. You don't see, that's not, Jalen Hurts is not going to get into a throwing game versus one of those guys. It's not going to be 50 passes apiece. Jalen Hurts may never throw 50 passes in a game. They don't look at him like that. MJ could laugh all he wants. That's not me saying that. That's everyone else in the country saying it. He thinks you know what's crazy? Somehow you kind of like, you tie that to me. That ain't to me. I think the list is bullshit. Okay? I think the list is bullshit. Because you're coming off of what the 2022 season is? They thought Lamar Jackson is a better player than what Jalen Hurts did a year ago. I didn't. I think you got to be on the field. See, to me, you missed the amount of games that Lamar missed a year ago. I think you exclude yourself from that conversation of being an elite quarterback. How can I sit here and justify telling you that dual threat guys is not the way to go and there's not a high ceiling by naming Lamar Jackson to be a better player going into this year than Jalen Hurts when he didn't play last year? You can't do that. Joey goes, I would take Hurts over Lamar. I'm not saying I would. But Jalen's 2022 season was better because he was there. Okay? Now, let's do this. If Lamar Jackson's in the NFC, he goes to the Super Bowl too. He goes to the Super Bowl too. NFC's horseshit. It's almost win by default. 5 burning questions. Training camp starts tomorrow for the Eagles. I got a couple more than 5. And I'm going to throw them at you. Don't forget, Gary Cobb will be at 4:30 Eastern time. We will talk with him. Hey, for the next couple days, tomorrow's Mike Missinelli at 4:30. And then on Wednesday, we got Seth Joyner. Hour number 2. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
And the big story on Action News?
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sills, hour number 2. Appreciate you coming aboard. By the way, I thought it was a cool wedding for Joel Embiid. Smoking wife. Good for him, man. Personal life is important to have together. Didn't see James Harden, though, at the wedding. Then again, why would I? He's such a loser. Why do you? I mean, man, what a loser. This guy ate himself out of Houston. He cried himself out of Brooklyn. He's threatening the Sixer fans. He never wins. He falls short. He's always hurt in the postseason. He never puts his reputation on the line. Why do you give a shit? God, man, that's your bargaining chip? Holy cow. I'd rather have a mule as a bargaining chip than James Harden. Man, that guy is a loser. He's got loser all over him. Man. Passing hamburgers out. Such a loser. It blows my mind why people give a shit about him in Philly. I cannot believe he's covered still with kid gloves at some places in Philadelphia. I don't get it. Ben Simmons is a head case. This guy's a fat ass. Done. It's all good. Hey, whatever. You know what, too? I'm gonna make a state. I'll never talk about him again, and I don't give a shit where he goes. You could send him to Team Israel. Send him anywhere. You can send him to China. I don't care. Just get him out of Philly. Just get him out of Philly. Fans don't deserve that. Dude, I wouldn't buy a pretzel at Wells Fargo until you got rid of that cancer in the locker room. What a loser. How could you cover loser athletes like that? Who shit on you, don't care about you, and never did. That's why it's so good to cover the Eagles, because these guys do care. Okay? These guys do care. Jesus Christ. How about, no, 5-star. I like this new thing called slam ball, where you see these guys are slamming the basketball. They jump off these like trampolines. I like slam ball. Okay? I'm digging slam ball. By the way, bottom of the hour, Fox 29's own Gary Cobb will join us as he does each and every single Friday or Monday morning here at 4:30 Eastern time. So we'll talk to him. All right. Here are my questions, my burning questions going into training camp, which starts tomorrow for the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's number one. Okay, wait a minute. What do you think is the number one burning question going into training camp for tomorrow with this organization as they try to repeat as NFC champions? Okay. What do you think the number one burning question is? What's the top question you want answered coming out of camp? Linebackers. Okay. Are we going to get an LB? Defense. Can the defense hold up? Okay, let's go here because I'm going to address all this. Is it important how these running backs are going to be used? Do you believe that the running backs will hold up? I don't. Why would you? Will the running backs hold up? They haven't in their career. Isn't that a question? Will they? How about this? I'll concede this. Some of you think that Penny's good. Swift is good. I like Swift. You know that. But here's the thing. Will they hold up? They haven't. And the two guys you guys talk about prominently all the time were moved off of. Why and where do you come up with the notion that miraculously in 2023, that narrative will change on them? Don't you think there's more of a likelihood that these guys are not going to hold up? Right? Rotation leads to longevity. They had one in Seattle last year, and Penny couldn't hold up. Penny will be cut. Or hurt. And Joey goes, injury's part of the game. But Joey, that's your collection of running backs you're counting on. Will the running backs hold up? Has to be a question. And I don't know, by the way, I don't know if that's going to get answered during training camp. If anything, you don't even want to play them guys because you at least get hurt in week 3. I don't want them getting hurt in training camp. Okay? Less practice? Maybe, Joseph. Maybe that's what you're going to have to do here. Because again, for me, I'm saying this. Hey, I'm not even talking about talent here. I'm asking you if you think that the running backs will hold up. And I know most of you think they will. But I don't believe they will. And you'll go, well, that's negative thinking. No. It's who they are. That's not negative thinking. Well, Sills, don't you want a positive thought that maybe they would? Why would I have a positive thought and say, yeah, well, maybe they'll last when they never have, ever, ever, ever. And again, I'm not talking about talent. I'm going to ask these same questions to Gary Cobb. Tones like this, Penny. Swift, I'm here with Swift. I think he'll get through. Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's Swift. I think he's gonna. But will you have enough? We'll see. Here's another one. Is Quez the number 3 receiver? Is Quez the number 3 receiver? Are you sold going into September? Actually, into training camp tomorrow, that Quez is the number 3 guy? How do you feel about Quez being your number 3 guy? That speed is his saving grace. He better catch the damn ball because I'm not sold on Quez. So, Tone's not sold on the number 3 position, which means the kid from Atlanta has to play, which means you're not very deep at wideout. Don't get hurt with Devontae or AJ, or you'll be in trouble. You can't put AJ Brown out there and Quez Watkins in the 2-hole if Devontae goes down. And I'm not wishing anything on anybody, but part of the game. Or vice versa. Brown goes down, AJ and Quez, that ain't cutting it. You will not win the NFC East if you have Devontae and Quez as your wideouts. Not happening. Look how close that is. If you lose Devontae or AJ, any one of those guys, you ain't winning the East. Because there'll be 3 and outs, and that defense won't be ripe until at least week 8. Quez has to show the organization that he is indeed the 3 guy. What if we lost them for a game or 2? Game or 2? Between San Francisco, who doesn't play the same kind of schedule you do, and Dallas? And if you split with Dallas? This year it may be different than having that lead in the AFC home field advantage race. You got away with it last year when your quarterback got hurt. You would never get away with that in the AFC. If Jalen had missed those games and the Eagles were in the AFC, you would not have had home field advantage because you would not have won home field advantage in the AFC last year. You might be able to get away with some injuries in the NFC because it's not quite as deep. They rarely targeted him last year. I'm hoping to improve on using the number 3 weapon. I'm talking more about depth. Don't pay me any mind steals. I'm just paranoid. Dude, don't lose any of the wideouts. You ain't winning the East. Because then the Cowboys and you are even. Because Dak beats you. You see, here, if you lose AJ or Devontae, and because you're not deep at wideout, Brandon Cooks, CeeDee Lamb, right? Those guys are better than you. Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins are not better than that group. And the quarterback, like I said, is 8-3 versus the Philadelphia Eagles in his career. That will not be a good sign. So, the question again, is Quez the number 3 guy? You see, you guys are talking about him catching the ball. I'm talking about
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
EAGLES, Eagles.
your patience there. We had a little bit of connection issues there. So thank you guys for stepping in with us. We're going to get to Gary Cobb in a little bit here. So thank you guys very much. But we were talking about Quez Watkins. Okay. Do you think it's a bigger problem? Do you think it's a bigger problem going into camp for you now than what I'm bringing up? You can't have a significant injury at that position. You can't have a significant injury. Okay? You can't. Tone, you agree? You cannot have a significant injury. You have a significant injury at wide receiver. That offense, again, you still have Dallas Goedert. But again, we're doing our 5 questions. We're going to do this for Gary Cobb here in a minute. Okay? Will the running backs hold up? Is Quez the number 3 wideout? I don't know. Here's another burning question. Do you have enough depth at tight end? Do you have enough depth there if Goddard goes down? Could you sustain it for a longer period of time if Dallas Goedert is not available in the passing game? Okay? Bad content? Don't watch. These are questions going into camp that the Eagles are asking. Do you have enough depth at tight end? I don't think you have enough depth there either. So you don't have enough depth at tight end, and you don't have enough depth at wideout. Okay? No one has enough depth at tight end. You have nobody. If Goddard gets hurt, you have nothing. Before I get to Gary Cobb here, the first 3 questions that we're asking here before we get to training camp tomorrow. I mean, I think these are legitimate questions. We got a boatload more, and I'm going to ask Gary Cobb these from Fox 29. These questions now, we're going to go back over them. Let's bring our friend in from Fox 29 in Philadelphia. And tomorrow, the Eagles report to training camp. And I would say this, Gary, do you think this football team, in your opinion, do you think this team can be better than a year ago's team?
I think they can be better. Yeah, I think they can be better. But I think they come into the season maybe with them a little ahead of them because they've got some more experienced players at different positions. Now, we'll see whether these guys are able to rise above, where that team was. Now, of course, on the offensive line, they got to they're making a change, at the right guard spot. So, Isaac Seumalo had been there for how many? 5, 6 years?
Yeah.
They had everybody that was on the offensive line had been there. So they were ahead of where they were. Now, we could look back and say, well, boom, maybe they've taken a step ahead of them a little bit. But, you got that offensive line there. And then, of course, the running back position, even though we get on Miles Sanders, he had a very good year last year.
1,300 yards. And, Gary, that goes into here. I got a bunch of questions, and I want to go with what you're saying here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to talk about the talent of the running back position, but I'm going to ask you these 7 questions here. And I'm going to start with where you were going with running back. I'm not going to talk about talent, what you think of them, what they mean to the offense, this and that. Do you believe with the collection of running backs, and especially the 2 guys that are the headliners, and Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift, do you think this running back room holds up 17 weeks?
Now, see, boy.
Nothing to do with talent, Gary. Not how they're going to use them. Do they hold up?
If I got to look at that and just look at that, I would have to say no. Because Penny and Swift, their history is no, they have not been able to stay healthy. Now I know those other guys can, get in there, and because of that offensive line, they could probably do a decent job because, they're going to be holes to run through and things. So, but they're planning on being better, but those guys got to stay healthy. And even though I think they can stay healthy, I don't know them well enough. I looked at history and they haven't been. So I would have give the nod to last year's group being a little better.
Absolutely. How about this one? Is Quez Watkins the number 3 wide receiver? And what I mean by that is I'm not even talking about him making catches.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this. Say you lose for a significant period of time, A.J. Brown or Devontae.
Yeah.
Do you think this football team wins the NFC East with Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins as your wideouts, or A.J. Brown and Quez Watkins as your wideout? If that's your number 3 guy, are you confident that he could pick up the mail there and they have enough depth at that position? Is he the number 3 guy?
Woo, that's quite a question. You got to show me, man. He has not shown me that yet. He has not shown me that he can be that guy. He's been disappointing. We all know he's got the talent to do it, but the confidence and all that, to step in there, make the tough catches, third down plays, to come, get open and make a tough catch. Can he do that? Part of this game is injuries. So,
and
he's got to
anyone to think they're going to have the health they had a year ago is insane.
Yeah, that's not reasonable. I mean, because the NFL, it's not a matter of is somebody going to get hurt. It's who is going to get hurt
and when.
And how bad is it going to be?
And when. Here's another one.
Yep.
Do the Eagles have enough depth at tight end?
I think so. I like what I've seen so far of them. Now, with them getting hurt last year, I don't think everybody's going to get hurt. So,
yeah.
If they got the other guys healthy, they've shown that they can play with whoever at tight end because they did it last year. So they have proven it there. Now, of course, they're much better with a healthy Dallas Goedert. I mean, he's another weapon. But they can go without him because, like I said, last year he got banged up. You never knew it. They had all these weapons, and they've got a lot. And so with the fact that you're adding Swift, Swift adds, really both of them. Swift is a complete back who's tremendous coming out of the backfield. He'll kill you on those screens, the one-on-one routes. So they got the potential to be even better at running back, but can these guys stay healthy? And then Penny is a physical back who's probably more physical than the other guys they've had, but can he stay healthy? They got the potential there to be better.
How about this, though, Gary? Do you think that Dallas Goedert's injury prone?
No, I wouldn't say that because he hasn't been hurt a lot.
Okay.
He hasn't been hurt a lot. So
who do you think starts at right guard?
I've heard people say all kind of things. But I'm going to say, I think the kid, Cam Jurgens, the fact is he's got more experience. He's a smart player to begin with. He's a center. He's been there working with that whole group and everything. So I got to give the nod to him. I know this kid's coming in. He's bigger. He plays, tackle and everything. But I'm going with Jurgens. I think he's the guy that's going to get it.
Gary, tell the folks how important 1 year experience is for a player to be there, especially when you've got players like Sayamalo, Kelsey, and Lane Johnson, and you're watching and you're listening to a guy like Stoutland when you're in the building versus a guy that's just coming in and learning how to be a pro versus learning that you are a pro now and trying to move the chains for you. How important
that's huge.
Is that?
It's like, like a whole year. It's just a tremendous advantage because the light turns on with a guy, especially if you got a guy like this kid Jurgens who is paying attention. He's a student of the game, playing the center position. He knows he's got to make a lot of calls and things. And they said he was ready to play last year. They thought he was ready to play. So he's got a huge advantage over the other kid because he's not only learning what he's got to do at his position, he knows what everybody's got to do. You know, he's that smart of a kid, and I think he utilizes that to his advantage to win that job. And the thing about him, he's not a somebody who's going to just be overempowering people, though, but he's a great athlete. He's bigger than Jason Kelsey, but he's close to being that level of an athlete, see. He's a very good athlete. Yeah.
Who do you think starts at defensive tackle next to Fletcher? Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis?
You know, they'll be off. They'll probably let Jordan maybe start some, but I think that Jalen is ahead of Jordan, though. He's just a complete player.
Who would you rather see start the season against New England, Carter or
Carter?
Davis?
Yeah, Carter. He's just got, you know, just out there, just a little, seeing him a little bit. You go like, this kid's quick. You know, he's quicker than Jordan Davis. He's strong and powerful and everything. And then I've seen him from looking at the tape of him. You know, he can run you over. So he got that power move, but he's got the speed, man. I mean, this kid could go out and play defensive end. You know, he's that versatile. And that's why a lot of people, you know, thought he was the best player. If it was just talking about player, they thought he was the best player in the draft because he's got all of that potential. And he hasn't even touched, you know, as he learns and he's in here competing against the Eagles offensive line all the time, he's going to do nothing but get better and better. And he's going to learn a lot, you know, and these guys are going to be teaching him. So I expect him, you know, to see more of him because he's a complete player already.
Where do you think Nolan Smith fits into the rotation for edge rushers? And do you think they'll use 4 or will they use 5 like they did a year ago when it comes to rotation? They like rotating their guys a lot. Yeah. They rotated the guys a lot last year. Do you think that they'll condense it more down to 4 and have Smith as that 4th guy? Or do you think they'll put him at the 5th to bring him along? How do you see him in the rotation?
You know, he seems like he's got the jets coming around the corner, and the big tackles do not like a guy who's going to come with that speed, and he's so low to the ground. He's a lot, you know, like Hassan Reddick. He does a lot of the same moves, and he's going to be able to learn a lot from him because they're similar body types and athletes. Where, you know, and then he's even faster. So I think he's going to find a way to, you know, they're going to want to get him on the field. Now, what they could do, see, is because he's such a good athlete, they could ask him to play some other positions too. See that find a way to get him on the field. So I think they will be looking for ways to find a way to get him on the field.
Sam or Will?
Yeah, Sam or Will, and to stress teams because he can come at any time, you know. You could have him lining up there, and he's coming off that corner, you know. So I could see them, you know, putting in some different things because this coach, I think, is going to like that. He's going to see all of the people that he has that can rush the passer. And with the athleticism of Smith, I think they'll probably do some different things with him that they haven't done with other guys because he's such a good athlete, you know. You would have no problem having him cover the back, you know, and rush. So they don't know, is he coming? Is he rushing? So I could see them doing some things and tweaking some of their defenses to let him on the field with, like, let's say a special defense or so with him on there, giving the offense another look, you know, on third downs and things. So I could see them finding ways to get him on the field because I think he's probably going to impress them enough to where we need to find a way to get this kid on the field a little more. But he will be in the rotation, I think.
Let me throw a suggestion at you here and disagree or agree with it. But, you know, I got to say, I think the best position for Nicholas Morrow might be the Mike backer because of his experience that he's had in the game. And so this leads me to ask you this. Do you truly believe that Nakobe Dean is a Mike linebacker, or is he more of a Will linebacker? Because, again, Gary, man, you're asking this guy to not just be a great player and to take up for 160 tackles, but you're asking him also to be the quarterback on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
And you know, and I tell people this, what's the biggest thing that you have when you make that transition from the college game to the pro game? And you know this as well as I do, Gary, you're slow. And the reason you're slow is because things you're doing that you've never done before in college, you're thinking about technique, you're thinking about not getting minuses. So you're always kind of chasing in a way until the game slows down to you. And my point is, why not keep the game fast for the kid and keep him in a position of success? Because if you put him at that mic, I mean, I'm not saying he can't play it. I'm just saying you're asking a lot from him.
A lot of things to think about. Now, I've had that same question, but I've talked to the kid. In fact, I was at an appearance and got a chance to talk to him just this weekend. We're sitting there talking. Kid's a smart kid, okay? This kid is majored in engineering, you know. He's a bright kid, and he's a bright football guy.
So that means he can process the information quick.
I think so, and this is what he was doing in college. And even at one of the news conferences, I asked him, I said, you know, Jacoby, what's the difference in the offenses and the things you're seeing on the pro level that you didn't see on the college level? And he started breaking it down. And so he was thinking about this last year. See, so he's a smart kid. That's the thing. He's a very smart kid, and he's a football smart guy. You know how you got some guys that are smart, but football, you're going like, what are you, stupid? You know, he's got the common sense. He's got football intelligence. So I think he'll be able to handle it because this is what he was doing in college. And, you know, we were talking and, you know, I think he has an idea about formations. He knows how important they are to know what people like to do at a certain formation. That formation has a personality. What is it? What do they like to do? And so he understands the game. So I think he'll be able to handle it. And, you know, he is, I would circle him as saying the most important player on the defense.
Absolutely. I would totally go there.
Because with them asking him to do what you just talked about, they're asking him to do, step in there. And, you know, he hasn't played a lot. So he's stepping in from college to pro with all the things, like you said. There's so many things.
Gary, they're not even asking him to be better than the guy a year ago. They're asking him to equal the guy from a year ago.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, but so to make it easier for him and to make it easier on everybody else, since there's so many Georgia guys, do you think you'll see some of the defensive schemes and some of the defensive fronts and some of the defensive things that they did? Because remember, they did interview the Georgia defensive coordinator for the coordinating job. So there is a sense of understanding of what they're doing in Athens.
Yeah.
Would they make, because what you want to try to do is do the things that make these kids successful. So like you just said, maybe some of the shit they did in college, they have a fundamental in the NFL in the scheme. Could you see decide doing things like that?
Well, I could see some of that because I'm talking to Jacoby. See, they did some things that were pro. They saw pro looks.
Yeah.
They ran pro defenses against it, especially like, you know, and they were able to see a lot of that. See, because
they got pro fronts. That Georgia defense ran a lot of pro fronts.
That's right. That's what he said. See, so some of it wasn't much of a change for him. And he's a smart football player, you know. So that's the key is not everybody would be able to handle this. But from talking to him, he's got a good grasp of it. And he said, and they were talking, and really this is some of the coaches, they felt confident about him last year because he had a great understanding of things. The kid is a smart football player. So, and they asked a lot of him in college where they had him changing everybody. He had to know what everybody had to do, you know, and so he's used to that. I think he'll be ready for it. And as I said, he is the most important defensive player, if you ask me, because I don't know that Moreau can do what you just said. I don't know that he has.
I agree. I'm just going by his knowledge of the game.
Yeah. See, and but you know, because Moreau was saying that he had never been pushed to know as much about down in distance and all the details and things from just what they were doing this offseason. He said that's the most that they've done. And, so, he was being pushed mentally then. So I think Nakobe's ahead of him because, he dealt with a lot of the same offense last year. I mean, the same defense last year. He has a good understanding of it. And I think he's going to be ready to go now. We'll see how he does, because he is a very important player for them. I'd say one of the most important players on the team this year for what they need, because they need him to step in there and play like he's been there 3 years.
Absolutely. Gary, last question for you here. I throw this out here, and I think people think that, it's great. It's great clickbait. It's great conversation here. But so Pro Football Focus came out with the top 50 players in the NFL, and Hurts is not on it.
Yeah.
And the week prior to that, they had the 10 most clutch quarterbacks on CBS. He's not on that.
Yeah.
CBS also had one where the top 25 and under, he's not on that.
Yeah.
NFL.com had a list. He's not on that. I mean, is it disrespect, or that they're just looking at him and saying this? He's only had one good season. And for me to consider him to be one of the better players in this league, doesn't he have to do it more consistently? Or do you think they really just have this narrative about him that they look at him and say, hey, he's an A-plus guy. His game is good.
Yeah.
But his game, I mean, look at the quarterbacks they ranked on this top Pro Football Focus. And why I tell people this is important, because when people go on Sundays, this is Collinsworth's site, when they go to Sunday Night Football and they see that column there and they don't see Hurts' name on it, the perception is the league doesn't promote him. And they don't see him in that light. They got Mahomes 1, Burrow 2 or 10, Josh Allen 12, Justin Herbert number 35, Lamar Jackson, who missed almost the whole half season last year.
That's right.
Number 41. And they got Rodgers at number 45 and no Jalen Hurts. How do you look at all that?
Well, I could understand some of their arguments. They say he only did it 1 year. Yet you could make that argument and everything. And he did have a great year, and he did show, tremendous increase from the year before and everything. So I don't have
But Gary, then they put Sauce Gardner on there who had 1 year. And he's on that list.
You're right. I personally think they're taking shots at the Eagles fans, if you ask me, really, because they know it's going to rev a lot of people up. But I tell you, the other person that's going to rev up is Jalen Hurts. And the kid likes to use that, be motivation. And I know he's going to find out about it and everything. And I think all it's going to do is push him to be better. That's the way he's reacted to this all the way. I think it's just going to push him to be better. He's coming in hungry. And I tell you, the whole group, I got to admit, just from talking to, they got a hungry team. They were not happy the way things ended last year. They want to go back. Now they got to put in the work and they got to go out and do it. But they got a team with that mentality. And Jalen, man, with this stuff, all it's doing is it's just fueling his fire. And I think that they're going to be ready to play. And it's going to be a fun year, another year. And they want to go back and finish. I hear the guy saying they got unfinished business. That's what they said. We got unfinished business. So that's all this is doing, is adding to that. They just throwing all this coal on the fire. See.
Hey, Gary, as you go to camp tomorrow, I want you to think of this. So now the players get to go with a beach towel. They get to go with a beach umbrella, a beach chair. They get to sit there. People holding umbrellas over their head because it's too sunny. They don't want anybody to sweat too hard out there. That's right. I mean, it's like going to summer camp.
Yeah.
Dude, seriously, this is like going to summer camp up in the Catskills. I mean, you're not going to training camp anymore, dude. This ain't training camp. It's like summer camp at Catskills.
Well, of course, it's not what we went through, but it's what they do. And I can tell you, though, the guy that is the leader of this team, that Jalen Hurts, kid is ready. He says, they're ready to go. So We're going to find out. Going to get
All right,
plenty
I
of
want to put you on the spot. You think
Yeah.
they make it back to the NFC title game?
Yeah, I think so. I do. Yeah, I think they do.
Conviction.
Yeah, I think they do. I think you got a hungry squad. And
Yeah.
you know, around here, all the guys were around here, and then just this team, they were not. They were not happy. Now, how many places you think they can go without somebody saying, "Oh man, you guys should have won that game"? Blah blah blah. How much have they heard that? I think that they are hungry, and it's just a matter of them playing against themselves. They got a tougher schedule and everything, but I think they'll be fine.
I didn't ask you this.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask. We had a topic late last week. Let me close with this one with you. In 30 years, Jeffrey Lurie has one Super Bowl, and he's got numerous appearances in the NFC title game.
Yep.
He's got 2 NFC championship rings, 3 NFC championship rings, and a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the owner of the Eagles has over or underachieved since he's owned the team? By the way, he's going into his 30th year.
Yeah.
Do you think Jeffrey Lurie, be careful what you say because Bob Lang watches this bitch.
Yeah, it's fine. I think he's overachieved because they've been in the dance. All you can do is you got to have the players to be able to get you in where you're in the hunt. And they've been in the hunt. They haven't come.
You're happy with one Super Bowl?
No, not happy with that. But doggone it, they've been there knocking on the door. And I think ultimately it's the players that get you in. See, all the people that are on the outside that are putting together the best team they can is put enough a group good enough to where you can be one of the top teams. Then it's the players who have got to make the plays with it on the line, and they take you to the dance. It's got to be the players that do it. So I look at the all of the GM and owner and all those guys. Their job is to put the best team they can out there, and the players got to take it to the next level.
All right, let me expand on this one then.
Uh-huh.
So do you believe that Jalen Hurts over or underachieved a year ago?
Did he over or underachieve? I would probably say, man, that's a tough question there.
Wait till you hear the second one to it. There's a part two to this.
That's tough to say. He made a huge jump. I mean, I haven't seen many guys make the jump he made.
Agreed.
So I'd have to say over. If he plays near that this year, they're going to have a great year.
How about this? If he does exactly what he did a year ago, and they fall short again, then you're saying he underachieved.
Yeah, I would have to say
if he doesn't win it this year, he underachieves, right?
I expect him to play a little better this year. I think he's going to be. I expect a little better. I mean, I think he's going. When they get to those, like the Super Bowl. I mean, and you know what? I can't really say it's him. I think the whole team can play better. The defense, especially, they were the ones that lost that game. If you ask me, it wasn't Jalen. If you play as well as he did in the Super Bowl, even with the turnover, defense shows up, you win the game. Come on. They give up 31 points. Come on. You don't give 38 points up. Defense, somebody make a play. No turnovers. I'm sorry. Defense takes the L. They were the ones didn't show up. If he plays the way he played last year and the defense shows up in the Super Bowl, you win the game. Come on. You scored 35 points.
Some of the media people in Philly, they got the hot seats out already in September. You better win some ball games this year. Right. I mean, the game.
Yeah.
You got a lot. Is there more expectations on this team, Gary, than there was on the 2018 team?
Yes, without a doubt. The 2018 was a surprise. It shocked a lot of people.
I mean the year after the Super Bowl.
The year after the Super Bowl? Yes.
Did you guys think they were going back the following year?
I don't think it was as – no, I probably would say there's more pressure on this team.
Oh.
Yeah, I probably would say that, yeah. Because it was satisfied that everybody was still people were still celebrating.
People were still doing victory laps.
That's right. They were. People were still celebrating. when the next season started. You're right. Because it was, come on, all these years, never had won it. They won it. A lot of people still celebrating. It's not like that now. People were not happy with the way that thing ended. I mean, I couldn't even hardly get on the plane on the way back. People, I'm like, God, I'm going, relax. So I think there's more pressure on this team.
Hey, man, have a fun time at camp tomorrow. I appreciate it. It's going to be very interesting to see how this thing plays out. Thank you so much, my friend.
All right,
you got it. That is the great Gary Cobb. Appreciate him coming aboard here. Once we won the Super Bowl, I got greedy. I need more Super Bowls. Now, that's how I told you last week, that's how Yankee fan is. Oh, won the World Series? Great. What do you think this is here? One and done? What do you think? We're Peyton Manning? What do you think? This is the Cubs? The Yankees aren't the Cubs. Oh, we got our title. We're the Yankees. We win these things. We buy our talent. We buy Babe, Reggie, whomever. Everyone thinks that the Yankees have been buying people. Well, the Yankees have to buy them. They've been buying it since the 20s. And nothing's changed. And you know what, too? And guys in Philly go like this. We got homegrown. Do you? Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
For the big story on Action News,
search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up.
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills! So the media automatically started having a cow with wide receiver from the Minnesota Vikings, Jordan Addison. Oh, there's an entitled athlete going 140 mile an hour in a 55 mile an hour zone. You know these guys, they just think they can get away with everything. And They're above the law. They had all these stories going out about the guy being a criminal already. His dog was having an emergency. He's trying to get his dog to the vet so his dog didn't die. But yet the media, quick to judge. You know what's great about today's media? They expose themselves every day for the creatures and creeps that they are. They expose themselves on who they really are. Anything for a sensationalism story, just absolutely, man. Okay? Just to make something up. Just to make something up. Ridiculous. Oh, top of the hour. I have a ranking of people that I'm going to be watching right out of the gate from day one in training camp. And hey, and for the record, I hear people doing this about training camp. You're really not going to get a sense of anything in training camp. True. So I'll ask you one more time before I hit on all this. So, with all the new faces, no training camp to speak of, new coordinators, new faces, do you truly believe that you're going to line up against New England with people that could have communication issues on the field? Jacoby Dean's never barked out a front in his life in the NFL. Well, maybe 5 times. That's not really anything, especially in mop-up duty. I say that New England game, 31-30, 31-28. Jalen may have to have a last possession drive to beat. I say it's a last possession drive to beat them. You're not going to blow that team. Well, I don't believe you're going to blow that team out. I do not. Here, like I said, and I asked Gary Cobb these questions. And the 7 questions that I didn't get to you guys on, who will be will these running backs hold up? Answer to that is no. He's quizzed the number 3 wideout. Incomplete. Enough depth at tight end. I heard somebody and I saw somebody say, does anybody? You don't have Patrick Mahomes. If Kansas City loses Travis Kelce, they're still going to be in the AFC title game. Who starts at right guard? How are you using your rotation this year in edge rushers? Who starts at defensive tackle? Jalen Carter? Hey, here, let's throw this out there. Let me say this to you. 27-17 type of game. 10-point win. Brady night. I think it's going to be a little closer. Would you make this proclamation, Yale? If Jordan Davis doesn't start week 1, is there a problem with Jordan Davis? I think so. 2 years in a row he doesn't start, and you drafted him 13? You drafted a guy in the first round of going into his second season, and Hargrave's not there, and he doesn't start. You got a problem. You got a problem. If Jordan Davis doesn't start and Jalen Carter starts, you got a problem. Because here's what this would be. If Hargrave didn't get the contract and go to San Francisco, Jordan Davis would have been the 4th tackle, not the 3rd tackle. What you're saying is you're lucky Hardgrave left, so he'll see playing time. He better start. If he doesn't start in his second year, what are you waiting for? This guy's out on a GI Bill. Yeah. And by the way, I think Carter's going to start. He's great with, I saw Jordan Davis at Duncan, asked him how the offseason workout going, and he ordered another dozen. Milton Williams is going to have 10 sacks. I think Milton Williams is a good ball player. Jordan Davis needs to show, man. He better not start this year, because you drafted a first and second down defensive tackle in the first round and in the first 15 picks. I think I'm moving him. At the end of the year, that guy better be productive. I'm going to tell you, the guys, I got a list of them. I got the top 10 guys that I believe have a lot to show me. Okay? Have a lot to show me. As we are one day out from training camp, hit the like button. Power Hour's coming up. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show, Power Hour. Don't forget tomorrow, Mike Missinelli at 4:30 on Wednesday. We will have Seth joining. We appreciate you guys coming aboard. Please hit the like button. Here's a little bit of insight on what's being thrown around about NFL and ESPN and their relationship. It's pretty interesting too. The National Football League is troubled by what's going on at ESPN and what's going on at Disney. And they're not sure about the relationship, on how that relationship is going to continue with the amount of viewers that they're losing and the amount of platforms that aren't living up to expectations like ESPN Plus. Again, it's the changing of the industry. So you're looking at like Amazon, you're looking at YouTube, things that we're doing that are changing the landscape. I'm not really saying that it's ESPN's fault. I'm saying that there's more ways now. It's not just radio any longer. It's now television that's being affected by the internet. I never thought in my wildest imagination that the internet would have so much impact on TV and print media, and it has. It hasn't wiped it out, but what it's done, it has split the pie up on where you're getting your money from right now. I mean, it's completely split the pie up. And now the National Football League, okay, now the NFL is not so sure they're going to invest money into ESPN any longer, or the amount of money that they're putting into ESPN, because that platform is not trending in a great place. Disney stock is being affected by ESPN's failures. And again, I don't know if that's ESPN's problem. I think it's just the way we and where we are in today's landscape. You know, people say that journalism has changed. How we consume content has changed even faster than what radio or TV companies are now trying to figure out how to monetize everything, especially in the streaming business and especially on the internet. This has been a battle for the last 15 years for many companies in trying to figure out how to monetize it. The National Football League hasn't even figured out how to monetize gambling yet. How are you figuring out how to monetize streaming shows? You know, I see more investment from the NFL, the number one sport in our country, being pushed more towards streaming and the internet than I do towards mainstream television. I don't see the NFL. I see the NFL. Dude, the NFL just sold their Thursday package for $1 billion. And you can't get it unless you watch Thursday Night Football now on the internet. If you don't have Amazon, you can't watch Thursday Night Football. Don't be shocked one day if you see the Super Bowl on pay-per-view. If the NFL thinks that they can make more money with less people watching it, but charging a higher price, they will. I think it's trending that way. Don't be surprised if HBO Max tries to get NFL games. They already have Hard Knocks. Absolutely. Absolutely. Remember how HBO used to put on boxing all the time with Lampley and them guys when Tyson and Mayweather were fighting? Look at the amount of money that those things generated. Can you imagine having an NFL Sunday night game on HBO leading into Sopranos or a show like that, Game of Thrones? Soon as that's over, you go right into Game of Thrones. They'll own Sundays. They will own Sundays. Cable television has got to figure out, like Showtime is a useless entity. These companies have to figure out how to get in the game. Dude, ESPN is on a respirator right now. It's on a respirator. And you're seeing the league go, man, this streaming thing, I think it's here to stay. I think it's here to stay. Real quick, before I get to my list here of Eagle guys, training camp, one day out, that starts tomorrow. So I get asked a lot of questions. Obviously, a lot of people in South Florida follow us and watch us here, and we really appreciate it. Netflix too, Yale, I agree. And I saw Messi score the game winner. Yeah, just like I saw Pele score the game winner when he first came to the New York Cosmos when I was a kid. Never turned out to be anything. You got a 36-year-old old guy making $50 to $60 million in the MLS, which is the minor leagues of soccer. He's just another old guy on a pension plan known as the MLS. It's a retirement home. The MLS is a retirement home. Okay? Gigantic name. And because his name's bigger than Pele's name, because of social media. But what do you think he's really going to do for soccer in America? Nothing. Nothing. I remember one ABC network was huge. Right? Okay? Yale goes, it's big in Miami? Kind of. Kind of. I keep hearing soccer is really huge in America somewhere, in some places. I guess. I don't even know when the MLS season starts. No idea when the MLS. I don't think I've ever watched an MLS game in my life. Okay? You know, Yale goes like this. A lot of Latin folks in South Florida. Then why isn't baseball big? You think baseball's big in Latin America, Yale? And the Marlins are pretty good. Actually, the Marlins have 2 World Series titles. They have 2 World Series titles. Don't you think baseball's big in Latin America? How come no one goes to Marlin games? Everyone was always under the impression, because they put baseball in South Florida, that like the South American community was going to go and watch baseball in Major League Baseball. That never transpired. Now, there was a shitty owner down there who didn't give a shit about his fan base, but the Marlins have been good. Dave Dombrowski was down there. The general manager currently of the Phillies, he was down there. Why don't more Latin American people go to Marlins games? Nobody goes to those games. Tone goes, the MLS will always have limitations because they have no farm system. The country's best young athletes are playing soccer because they have football and basketball. Half true. One thing on the soccer, and Landon Donovan told me this, Tone, when you're a young kid in Argentina and you're a poor kid, you could make it to the national team. When you live in this country, you have to pay $25,000 to $50,000 to $100,000 a year as you move up to get into these camps so that you'll be picked. And it comes down to a bunch of rich kids. You don't have the best players in the world because the best players in the world get weeded out because they don't have the economics. When you're Cristiano Ronaldo or you're in some of these South American countries, they don't have any money. But you know what they do is have a dream that they can make it to the national teams. Some of these guys can't even buy soccer cleats. They're hand-me-downs. But you see, if you're that kid in America, you can't afford to go to these $25,000 camps. That's where they picked the Team USA from. But when you're talking about Team Argentina, these kids are picked out of poverty. They're picked out of places where there's no moat around houses. Our U.S. soccer team, all those women are loaded. Their families are loaded. All go to Stanford. Look at the schools they went to. Stanford, Duke, North Carolina, Notre Dame. The kids at Argentina were dirt poor playing in their backyard. Okay? Yeah. Hey, again, it's true. Wait, Tone's like, I didn't want to go too deep because it's soccer talk. Thank you. Yeah, it's totally true, though. Totally true. Dude, best players in Argentina. Okay? And plus, there's not a lot of options. Like, people always ask me this when it comes to track and field about Jamaica. Why is the Jamaican track team so much better than ours? Well, how many sports do you think you really have in Jamaica? Bobsledding, soccer, and rugby, and highlight. And what else? Cricket. Other than that, there's really not a lot of options for sports in Jamaica. You could do anything in this country. So you're going to have the greatest athletes on the planet going with the sports that make you the most money. The number one sport in America, if you want to be an athlete in America, what's the sport you want to play in? What's the sport you want to play in if you have the ability to play in? If you are the best athlete, okay, what sport do you want to play in? Okay, what sport do you want to play? You don't want to play football, baseball. You want to play NBA basketball. You make $50 million a year, and it's guaranteed. And you make $250 million, $250 million, and you get every cent of it. No sport does that. Maybe baseball, but you don't make $50 million a year. Basketball, those guys make $50, $60 million a year. It's all guaranteed. Our greatest athletes are basketball players. Okay? Okay? Yeah, and see, Tone goes, I ranked it up based on popularity. Yeah, I rank it on salaries. And the salaries are this: basketball, baseball, football. Football's third. That's why the owners win. That's why when a guy holds out, okay, you're like, oh, the owners go, well, this guy, he's so, he's this, he's that. And you're like, hey, man. Well, it's funny, isn't it, how you look at it? The number one sport in America for athletes is hoop. I could make $50 million. Dude, I could be a stiff. I could be the second. What's Maxie make? What's Maxie make? Right? When I have a kid at football, that little effort's going to play baseball or hoop. That's where the money is. It's where all the guaranteed money is and the better pensions. It's not football. Trust me. You play football for any extended period of time, you'll die like a boxer broke. Okay? Majority of you die like a boxer broke. Harper makes big money. He makes $30 million. Tobias Harris makes more than him. You got guys in the NBA making more money than Bryce Harper, who's considered one of the better players in the sport of baseball. Shit, dude. The second and third team guys on basketball teams. Dude, the guy, Draymond Green's going to make more money than, and he's one-dimensional. He's going to make more money than Harper. Just saying. Popularity? Yeah, sure. Salary? Soup. What sport in America pays a guy who's the third guy on a team $40 million, $30 million? Basketball's the sport you play. That's why LeBron picked basketball. Do you know? Hey, Tone, everyone, I don't think you guys know this, but there was, he just slipped my mind. LeBron was coached in Ohio by a linebacker, Jay Brophy. That's who it was, Jay Brophy. Jay Brophy coached LeBron James in high school. And do you know LeBron James was a two-time state champion football player or two-time All-Stater in Ohio? Think about the scholarship offers he had where he could have played anywhere. Well, his senior year came around, he informed Jay Brophy, the head coach that coached him, that he's not playing because he's going to be the first player taken in the NBA draft coming up. And he didn't want to get hurt. So what did he do? He quit playing football. He's a two-time all-state football player in Ohio. He could have had scholarship offers, played 1 or 2 years somewhere, went into the NFL and made some pretty good money. However, not enough, and it's not guaranteed. He chose hoop. He had no intention of playing football. More risk, less reward. Basketball, less risk, high reward. Allen Iverson, too. Think AI is going to go play quarterback at Florida State or West Virginia? You think he's going to go do that? Or do you think he's going to play basketball and have a contract guaranteed? Low risk, high reward. Those hoop players are smart, man. Hey, Yale. He played for Jay Brophy in Ohio. He's a 2-time All-State, I think, flanker. He was a great player. And became, you're not, how many football players become billionaires that aren't quarterbacks? Can you name me a billionaire football player that's not a quarterback or was a quarterback? Name me one. Jimmy Graham chose the wrong sport. Yeah, well, No. Jimmy Graham was a reject. So was Antonio Gates. They were rejects. And they picked up football. Antonio Gates was a reject. He was going to go overseas and play basketball. Jimmy Graham wasn't going to make an NBA team. So he made all-pro teams. That's how that worked. Oh, man, I can't make it. So maybe I'll play football. Yeah, those guys were rejects. I think if I'm not mistaken, Antonio Gates played at Cleveland State. Yeah, hey, dude, if you're going to make money, football is the way to go. Or basketball is the way to go. All right. I wrote 10 things down here that I want to circle, that I'm going to be keeping an eye on for Eagle Camp as these guys get into camp. And I'll be watching these 10 things. Kent State wasn't Dank. It is Kent State. You're right. That the Neil goes, hey, Gates is a reject all the way to Canton. Hey, Neil, watch this. Fantastic. He gets a yellow jacket, and Draymond Green gets $300 million. What would you rather have? Just curious. Look at Neil. Hey, Sills, he's getting a gold jacket. Yeah, Draymond Green has $300 million. Okay. Hey, that gold jacket looks good on you as I get into my Bentley. Man, you want to ride? I hear you need a ride, Antonio. I'll drive you to Canton in my Bentley. Yeah. Well, hey, Tone goes like this. Tone's like, screw the gold jacket. No, of course, man. Screw the gold jacket. I tell you guys that all the time. That's what them steroid guys did. Those steroid guys went like this. Signing a contract at 37 years old for $40 million a year versus a Hall of Fame Blazer in Cooperstown. Would I rather take the steroids and earn $250 million from the time I'm 37 until the time I'm 43 and pretty much triple the money I've made in my life? Or would I rather have a Cooperstown jacket? What do you think they chose? Who gives a shit about the Hall of Fame when you got $500 million in the bank? Barry Bonds is a hero to me. He went like this. F your Hall of Fame. I got $500 million. You never proved a thing. You cost the taxpayers $30 million to do what? Have me under house arrest for obstruction, and at my house arrest, I'm in my mansion for 30 days? Great. I don't leave my house anyway. Barry Bonds has $500 million in the bank. Who do you think won that? But he's not in the Hall of Fame. I don't care. He's got $500 million. Legacy? So you're telling me you think a legacy means more than $500 million. You can keep your legacy because legacy is how you interpret it. Others won't interpret it the same way you do. It's about winning. Greasy, he won. You think it's important? You think it's about winning World Series or having $500 million in the bank? Jesus, criminy. Especially in a sport like baseball. You can have the best athlete and the best player in the game. Look at Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Do you know consistently Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout on the same team, that Anaheim and that stadium, the Big A, do you know that most of the time they're at 62% capacity? They can't even sell out the Big A with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, who's supposed to be and maybe the greatest baseball player of all time. And you can't sell. The point is they don't sell tickets. They don't make sellouts. And they don't win. What's the point of having them? You want me to spend $60 million on a year for a guy that I only get 62% capacity? How is that financially worth it for the Angels to re-sign him? Why would you? You couldn't do shit with Trout. Greasy goes, this conversation destroys the soul of sports. No, because you think that, Greasy, so wait a minute. You actually think a World Series title is more important to Barry Bonds than $500 million and being the all-time single-season home run and all-time home run guy because you think he may have put some grease on his elbows? Bugs him? I know Bonds. It don't. You think that bugs Bonds because he put some grease on his elbow and you look at him differently and he's got $500 million in the bank? That he don't have a World Series title, even though he hit 418 in that series. It may have been 468. And funny, it was against the Angels, I think. Sends the wrong message to kids? What message? Lying or truth? So you want to lie to your kids and tell them some fantasy story. One day, dude, you got to grow up and realize there's no Santa Claus. Flipper's not real. Okay? Bond's on a yacht somewhere, not thinking about, hey, Fly, Jan's on a yacht, one of his yachts. Dude, not everybody can be Jordan. Have the legacy, have the money, have it all. There's always somebody that has something in the arsenal that just doesn't collide with everything being in the. Look at A-Fraud. Watching A-Rod parade around on Fox is so funny. He's such a bullshit artist. Of all the people that you watch and you watch talk, you know he's a great player. But to sit there and think he's sincere, it doesn't sell to me. Okay? Okay, here we go. These are the 10 things that I'm going to be watching going into camp and throughout the 2023 Eagles season. And I wrote them from 10 to 1 here, obviously. And this is what I'm going to be looking at. If the Philadelphia Eagles answer all these questions, I think they could win a Super Bowl. Okay? Here we go. Number 10. Will the Eagles improve their special teams? There's a part of me that says they may. Younger depth. You drafted some guys like Sidney Brown, guys like Keely Ringo are going to be on those units. You may have actually improved the talent level on your kick coverage and your punt coverage teams. Your punt returner and kick returners suck, but your coverage teams might be better. And that'll help your defense as it matures. Like I told you, this defense is not going to be ready for dinner until probably around week 8. So I think with the guys you drafted, personally, I'm going to be keeping an eye. I think your unit on your specialties, and not talking about your kicker. I'm not going there because I think your kicker is one of the better ones in the league. But your punt coverage and kickoff coverage teams are terrible. Now, because you drafted these players, I personally think you've upgraded. Okay, punter has to be addressed. Absolutely. But your coverage teams will be better, KC. Okay? We talked a little bit about this in the first hour, and I'll reiterate it again. Your depth. You can't afford to lose a wideout. You just can't. You can't afford to lose a couple dudes in your running game. Because why? That puts more emphasis on Jalen. You can't lose Goddard. You can't lose any more backers because you don't have any backers. Your depth on your team is something that you're going to have to keep an eye on. Number 8, your coordinators. All highly intelligent guys, Brian Johnson and Sean Desai. Let me come from it from an area of pros and cons. Totally guys that deserve to be in a position to be coordinators in this league and get an opportunity to be coordinators. I have no problem with these guys getting an opportunity. What I do have a problem, though, is how many times have you ever seen a reigning conference championship football team have to replace both? Have you? When's the last time you've seen that? Where both coordinators were taken from you after you got to a Super Bowl? Can you name me one? Hey, Yale, did that happen with the Rams? Did the Rams lose both coordinators after they won the Super Bowl? No, they didn't, because Raheem's still there. So that's not, no. When's the last time a conference champion or a Super Bowl champion lost both coordinators? And if you say New England, Bill's really the coordinator in New England. So it's kind of like saying that, well, Eric Bieniemy's out in Kansas City. Is he? Okay. I'm not sure that matters. Giants 90? That sounds right. That sounds right, Barb. Giants 90, and then the head coach resigned. Because Belichick went to, if I remember right, Barb, don't say it yet. I think in 90, Belichick went to the Browns. Parcells 3 weeks later retired. Am I right when I say that Al Groh went to the Jets, or he went to Boston College? I forget who that court. I forget. No, Belichick was the court. Who was the offensive coordinator? Was it Coughlin? Coughlin, the coordinator in 90, and Belichick. It could have been that way. Because Coughlin either went to the Jags or he went to Boston College. Because that sounds about right. That sounds about right in 90, because both coordinators and the head coach left New York. That sounds about right. So 90. That's right. Coughlin left for BC. And Belichick left for the Browns, and Parcells retired. That's the last time that's happened. And what happened in 91 when Ray Handley got the team? And they had all those new they still had the same team that won the Super Bowl. They were a train wreck the next year. That 91 Giants team was a train wreck. Ray Handley was awful. And I'm not saying that Nick Sirianni's Ray Handley. I am not saying that. But that entire New York Giants organization totally imploded after that 90 Super Bowl. Took them a couple of years to rebound. Absolutely, man. They actually, if I'm not mistaken, they got to the Super Bowl like around 99 against the Ravens in Tampa, and they got beat. I think they went back to the Super Bowl, got beat in 90. And I believe Trent Dilfer was the quarterback of that Ravens team. Ray Handley's no Rich Kotite. 2000. Okay, 2000. So the coordinators. Do I think it'll be an issue? Yeah, but both. Both, you know? And you got a rookie Mike linebacker. Number 7, I got the safety position. The safety position? Do I think they have talent there? I do. I do. Do I think that talent will live up to the expectations in 2023? I don't know. We're asking for all these new players at safety to walk right in there and do exactly what happened a year ago with no experience. That's like asking a kid to come out of college and run Apple. Well, he's educated. He's got talent, but he's never done it. Are you going to really put a guy who's never run a company to run Apple, even though he graduated from Harvard? I don't think so. I'm going to put the most experienced person and the person that gets results in that position. Again, it's a question at safety. They're relying on Blankenship and Edwards, guy who gets lost in coverage, and a guy in Blankenship that, okay, you know, Edmonds is a veteran. That's a plus. And we talked about this earlier. Number 6, Quez. Dude, it's not Quez's, you know, Yale brought this up and everyone brings this up all the time about Quez. Okay. Quez runs fast. He's a fast guy. He's a 4.2 40 guy. Sure. But in case of an injury, are you comfortable with him being your number 2 guy? Or is there a massive drop-off? I think there's a massive drop-off with him. Personally, I think Zach Pascal's a better player than him. Now, the threat of going deep, what's the point of having the threat of going deep when you know he won't catch the ball? So he runs fast. You know, it's a 50-50 proposition right now that he'll catch the football, even if he is beat. But on the other hand, is he good enough to be my number 2 guy? I don't know. That's more of a problem for me. Okay? I got Reed Blankenship on here. Really? You believe Reed Blankenship is a guy who you can rely on? Okay. Now he's in a starter role. Now he's got to play 65 plays. Okay. Okay. Number 4, your running back room. We mentioned it earlier. Will that room be healthy? Will they hold up? Number 3, will the seamless transition that so many think will happen? Cam gets the job, and he walks into it like Landon Dickerson. What do you think of that? I'm more apt to believe he will do it. Why? Well, because there's a history of you doing that. Landon Dickerson was a center too. Okay? Right? Wasn't Landon Dickerson a center too? Well, that guy's one of the top guards now in the game. Can they do the same thing at the right guard position? And by the way, talking to a couple people, you don't have to be a gigantic guy at right guard. You got to be quick, able to move your feet in traffic. Because of who they have coaching and the guys around them, I do think that's something to keep an eye on, though. And here are your last 2 things to keep an eye on. Who will be a bust? Jordan Davis or Nakobe Dean? And who will be a star? Stiff or star? Who? One of these guys is going to be one or the other. You're not getting 2 stars. You're not. And I would look at it this way. Tell me the one linebacker that Howie Roseman in his 24 years has drafted that was a star. And by the way, it's not fair because Joe Banner was in the room for the first 12. So then you got Jordan. Both stars? Well, so far they're not. They couldn't crack the starting lineup. And one of them may not start again for the second straight year. Personally, at number 2, Jordan Davis, if he doesn't start, I will start to do the words this: completely underachiever. Then he'll have to go from this. He's not an every down lineman. He's an underachiever. And I hope he has a good year. And if he doesn't, by the end of the year, you'll be saying this: this is not working out. You can't finish your second year non-productive. You can't. Not at the 13th pick. If you're Milton Williams, you get that latitude because you're a later draft pick. Not a first rounder at 13. You don't get that latitude. Okay? It's a D-line rotation. So you're trying to tell me you don't think a guy who's drafted 13th, if he doesn't start in his second year, is a rotation guy? You don't have Quentin Williams on your team. Don't make excuses for a guy not living up to what his expectations were thought of at the combines because he ran a 4.78. You're doing the same shit you're doing with Quez that you're doing with Jordan Davis. Both fast guys, athletic. Well, you got to do something with it. You got to do something with it, kid. Jordan, hey, as of right now, Jordan Davis is behind Wolfark. He's not Vince Wolfark. He's below the he's not even at the floor where I wanted him. Trolling? There's no trolling there. That's who he is. It's not a troll. I'm not telling you something he's not. The rotation. Okay, so get this. You see what some of these idiots are saying? You think a guy heading into his second year, who was the 13th pick in the draft, and he's not starting, you got rid of a guy. He's got 1 year under his belt. And if the rookie who's never played it down starts over him, he's a rotation guy, the veteran with the year, that's okay with the 13th pick. So you drafted a rotation guy at 13? Where in the world do you think that's fundamentally a good pick? If that's how this plays out. You could have got a guy like that in the 3rd round. That's a stupid take. That guy's got to put almost a Pro Bowl year together. That's right. Tone's right. If anything, Dean's got more of leeway on this because he's asked to do more. And he's got more responsibility. Get this. So Big Marshall, you drafted a rotation guy who won't start in his second year, and he thinks that's cool too. You got a 33-year-old D tackle and a rookie starting, and you drafted a guy 13th, and you don't think that's a problem for you if he goes into the season as the rotation guy. Holy shit. First round are not supposed to be rotations. Ask Andre Dillard. When you become a rotation guy, you become expendable. Andre Dillard was a first rounder. They kept Jack Driscoll. Why? Because he wasn't a first rounder. Cheaper. Less equity. More return on investment. Jordan Davis underachieved a year ago. And if he doesn't start, we'll start his year off underachieving. The whole line rotates. Once again, you drafted a rotation guy, and your rookie who's never seen NFL action is going to start over him. And you think that's okay with the 13th pick. It's a rotation. Well, shouldn't he start then? He's got the experience. Shouldn't he start? First round picks cannot be expendable. Davis is under more pressure than Jalen Hurts, if you ask me. Absolutely. So here, he'll be pushed back in the rotation again. Since you guys are bringing rotation up, you're lucky Javon Hargrave is not on the team. Or guess what? He'd be the 4th guy. That's what you're saying, and you're cool with that. It's a rotation. So this is what they're saying here, Tone. Some people are saying here. You think rotating the rotation, it's a rotation D line. Last year you had Adama Sue, Linville Joseph, Javon Hargrave, and Fletcher Cox. All extremely talented and experienced players. This year, you have one guy with experience. And your other guy ain't starting over Jalen Carter. And you think that's okay. You're lucky there's not a better player on the team or he wouldn't play either. If we're keeping it real, Fletcher Cox should be the Absolutely. The dream here is that Fletcher Cox and Jordan Davis start. And Fletcher's the rotation guy at 33, 32, whatever. Gentlemen, spend anything you and Tone want. Fletcher will not start. It will be Davis and Carter. That's Marshall. That's the take. That's the take. Hey, Marshall, if it's me, Okay? That's the total, like what Tone and I are saying. That's the dream. That Fletcher's the rotation, and you'll get more out of Fletcher Cox, believe it or not, because he'll play more productive downs because he won't have to play a ton of reps. If you get Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter starting, I believe that that's what the Eagles want. That's what I'm thinking. You want Fletcher to be that rotation, not Jordan Davis. And here's the problem that what Tone said. Jacoby gets more leeway. Well, that leeway better not cost you games. Like not lining up right. Not being able to cover. You don't truly believe Jacoby Dean's going to cover Travis Kelce, do you? Or George Kittle? You really don't believe that, do you? I'm going to be very interested to see how he covers that. A little dude like that covering them dudes? I truly want to see that. All right. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
EAGLES, Eagles.
So are you truly trying to tell me you think that London Fletcher and Jacoby Dean are the same guy? London Fletcher played 17 years and Jesus. 89 tackles, 133, 119, 149, 133, 144, 158, 146, 130, 135, 142. These are total tackles. 138, 166, 139. You think that this guy's going to put that career up? You're out of your mind. He is not London Fletcher. And this guy's 242 pounds. London Fletcher's 242. He ain't 208. He's 240. This guy's like 250, 245. Dude, when you put Nakobe Dean out there, your kicker looks bigger. Whatever, dude. I'll guarantee you this, Dank. I'll make a bet with anybody. I guarantee you Nakobe Dean does not have 160 tackles on what TJ Edwards had a year ago. I'll guarantee that. I will make the bet. That's what we should do tomorrow too, because of start of camp. Here's one of my predictions. Not a chance on hell. Not a chance in hell that Nakobe Dean matches 160 tackles of TJ Edwards. You want to put that bet up? That means he's got to play all 17 games. Also, that I don't believe he's going to do. No, Dosa. Let's have a little fun. I'll guarantee you he doesn't match TJ Edwards' number. I'll make another promise. Whoever playing the position at Kaiser White, hey, Tone, how many tackles did Kaiser White have last year? Just how many tackles did he have? TJ had 159. I think Kaiser was like what? 110. Not a chance. There's not a chance that two linebackers on the Philadelphia Eagles this year, one will have 160 and the other one will have 110. You don't have that kind of talent there. Not a chance. 160 and 110. There's 270 tackles that you think Nakobe Dean and this kid Morrow are going to put up. Really? Boy, is this going to be a fun year. Look at that. Tone shaking his head going, come on. Dude, there's not a chance, a snowball's chance. In Austin Heat, in Philadelphia Heat, where you have two linebackers that will have 270 tackles. What's his name? Kenneth Morrow? What's his name? What's Michael Morrow? What's his name? They think it Nicholas Morrow. That's it. You have to excuse me. I forget guys when they get cut. Their names. And the Eagles pick them up. 270 tackles. Here's a proclamation here for you. Not a chance. Here. No, I'm going to save that for tomorrow, what I think Dean does. We're going to make predictions tomorrow. That's what we're going to do. Thanks, Greasy. All good, dude. Dude. 160 and 110. Man, you guys think that, like Tone said, you guys think that that's going to be that easy to replace that. And then you have to replace CJ Gardner's numbers and Epps. Do you understand? It's like 370 tackles. Who's the safety that's going to take up for Gardner Johnson's 6 picks or whatever they were and all the tackles he made? Hey, and do me a favor. Do what me and Tone do. The kid got hurt, but that's great for the Eagles. Are we wishing it? Of course. Why would I wish it? I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't wish any bad ill on anybody. Why are you coming from that place? That just helps my team, though. Ebb said 94 tackle. Oh, wait, 270 and 94? Just in those three players, you have to replace 364 tackles. Yes, sir. Hey, tomorrow, Mike Missinelli, 4:30. Don't forget, Seth is going to join us on Wednesday as well. Xander, Big Joe, we thank you very much. Tone, he is, I tell you what, man, I can't tell. I think he's becoming more like Sills. It's dangerous. Remember that, Tone. They're going to start calling you Dangerous T here in a minute. Okay. All right. With all your predictions, they're going to start calling you Dangerous T. Yeah, we have fun, Sills. Absolutely, man. Sports talk. Remember that, folks. All right. Tone, love you very much, man. All good. 3 to 6 tomorrow. And we shall see you on the flip side.